I'm here with Tori Weyers, otherwise known as Draw Riot, and actually we're drawing today. Are we going to draw a riot of things?
We might. It's going to be a riot of still lifes.
Cool. So we're doing a still life, and actually we're drawing some drawing implements, actually. And you said that there's a little tip or a trick if you feel like you can't draw.
Yes. So I really like to just look at each individual object and sketch it. When you're doing things, especially like this is a cup that sits on my table, it's really just a bunch of sticks, if you look at it that way. And then the scissors are just some circles that kind of poke out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going for that kind of the essence of what that looks like. And I like, there's this little sponge in there. Let's see if I can draw it upside down.
Right here.
There's like a pointy thing here. And it's really about all the funny little details, because you wouldn't expect this to be in here. But kind of bringing that in and having an oddball shape, or having little lettering like from one of these markers, the little barcodes that are on some pens.
I would like to point out you are drawing with a ballpoint pen, not with a pencil, not even with a fancy pen of any kind. And also there are places where like your lines overlap, things don't quite match up, and it doesn't matter because it's about personal expression.
Yes, it's really just about getting it done, having fun with it. Sketchbooks, I feel like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we're like, I'm art journaling and it has to be art and it has to be perfect. And you can just play and you can sketch and make crazy lines and let it come to life.
Yes, no, that's awesome. And it just adds more texture. But you said you're not just drawing, you're going a step further.
Right. I think it's really fun once you sketch something to give yourself a little time to play with it and to kind of think outside the box. So this one over here, I've added a little collage to. And I usually keep a little pocket of collage in the back of my sketchbooks. But
do you really only just keep an envelope? I mean, this is a small envelope, and this is just what you put in the back of your book.
All these little pieces were just in this envelope.
So this means you can take it with you.
Right. And then you kind of have to force yourself to use with what's in your envelope. So that's another little challenge.
I want all the supplies. No, it's good. Limiting yourself is a good thing.
Yes. Well, you can put little envelopes in all your sketchbooks. So if you have 3 sketchbooks with you, you have 3 envelopes.
Ooh, I'm liking this idea.
So you can glue in collage pieces. I also love to add a little watercolor because it just brings it to life in a whole different way. So
watercolor, the transparency of it, and of course that means you want to make sure you're using a sketchbook that has some nice paper so that it's going to take that. But you know, it almost looks like the ballpoint pen kind of resists the watercolor.
This ballpoint pen is not water soluble, so you can paint over it, watercolor over it, and do a lot with it, and it just sticks. It's gonna stay there.
I love how you stay in the lines and you're very careful and exact about what you do.
Well, yeah, I think that I'm a little type A.
But that's the thing, which is art should be fun. It should have the hand of the artist, and a sketchbook should be a place of experimentation. Now, obviously, you would have glued that down before we went and did all that, so they wouldn't be moving around in any way.
But you can show it, you know, either which way. If I don't glue that down, this cup here has this turquoisey color on it. So mixing a little turquoisey color and putting that in there, and you don't have to fill in all the lines. Just
you know what's so funny is you have this palette of like a million colors, and yet you're still mixing your own colors. I love that. You're an artist. Now, we've been talking about sketchbooks, and you have brought so many with you, and part of that, I understand, is because you have been doing what for the last 3 years?
I have been doing a drawing or collage or painting every single day.
Every single day for 3 years. You know, I think maybe brushing my teeth, but I can't think of anything I've done every single day for 3 years. That's amazing. Can we take a peek through a couple pages here? Do you mind if I flip through and you can just... So it's everything I see from somewhat realistic drawings to more abstract ideas.
And I try and make it about if something happened that day, or if I saw something interesting. I had this dream about this weird bug that was obsessed with sugar, so he went in. And it's kind of a place, it almost becomes a visual diary. So there is a little tiny bit of writing in there, but kind of bringing to life your moments and then just getting it done. And really committing to 2 by 3 inches is fairly easy.
And this is actually a calendar, right? This is a physical calendar. So this is obviously another year's worth of drawings. Do you have any tips for working on what I assume is very thin paper with paint and other wet things?
It is a little bit crazy, I have to tell you. It is super thin paper, and probably my tip is, in the beginning when I started doing this, I did some sample pages in the front. They're actually right here, and I actually cut a little strip out to test my materials. Once I had done that, I kind of had a basis for where to go. And then, especially when you're doing watercolor, like what this one is, it's really about not getting your page too wet. You don't want to soak the fibers of your page because that will break apart and tear.
I noticed that when you were doing the watercolor earlier, you actually took your brush out, dabbed it off on your palette, and then added paint. I see some of the collage elements that must have been in your little envelope here.
Yes.
Now, speaking of that worksheet that you had, I know that we have a journal right here where I can see this is kind of a workbook for you. What is this?
So I like to have sketchbooks that are really just capturing visual elements in life. So this is patterns I see, textures I see, playing with the patterns together and creating a visual library is what I call it.
That's very cool. Do you mind if I flip through here a little bit? I think looking through people's sketchbooks is fascinating because this is just line. Look at that. And look at all the amazing different patterns and textures you're getting from a line. That's crazy to me. I love how you have brought life into sketchbooks and you've made really a commitment to becoming a better artist. This was fantastic, Tori.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.